Hi, another one from PHP Benelux. I'm sitting here at the community village with my friend Derick, Rethans. Hi Derick, how are you doing?
I'm good, yourself?
Welcome again. This is your fourth, fifth, sixth PHP Benelux edition?
I don't know, I missed 2, I think.
Okay, this is his fifth appearance at PHP Benelux.
You count better than I do.
Introduce yourself, Derick, to the
Hi,
people.
I'm Derick. I've been here a few times now. I'm actually Dutch, but I don't speak a word of it anymore now. It's too difficult. I work for MongoDB. Do driver things. I wrote a not very well-known tool called Xdebug probably, and I still do things for that. I like beer. I'm a good place here in Belgium for that, and other things too. So I'm really bad at introducing myself.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's actually good, and I'll dig into all the little things because I
okay.
know a bit of your history and how
Sure,
it
you
works.
should.
So the first thing you mentioned is that you are Dutch originally,
Yes.
but you don't speak it that much anymore. How come?
Oh, I've not lived in the Netherlands for 12 years. Nobody else speaks Dutch where I've been, so...
Is it correct that I say that you are a British citizen now?
I'm also a British citizen, yes.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations. He's
Dutch and British.
Dutch and British.
Yeah.
And you were married
I'm also married,
to a
yeah.
British lady.
Yep.
Great. So you
Nearly 2 years now.
Nearly 2 years.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Yeah.
You live in London?
Yes.
Not exactly London, but...
Pretty much London.
But the name of the place where you live is?
So many neighborhoods. It's called Kilburn.
Kilburn, yes.
Yeah.
Now I remember.
Or Queen's Park, depending on who you ask.
And you work for MongoDB?
Yeah, I've been doing that for about 4 years.
And prior, let's go a bit back. Let's go a bit back in time.
Okay.
Before Mongo, because you're now a British citizen.
Yeah.
You've been living in the UK for how long?
Nearly 7 years.
7 years, but you haven't been speaking Dutch for 12 years, so that
Yeah.
means you were elsewhere.
Yeah, I was in Norway for 5.
Norway, there
Yeah.
you go. So you're quite the international type.
I got bored of, I can't do that.
No. So the reason why we can't do that, like I'm going to try this. This hurts a lot. That's bumper car pain for you. There will be footage on YouTube to illustrate what that means, bumper car pain. So you were in Norway, and I'll try to pronounce it correctly. Skiën?
Well, I'd say Shan.
Skiën.
But most Norwegians will say Skien.
It's spelled Skien?
Yes, that's correct, yeah.
Skiën.
Yeah. Nobody knows where it is anyway, so...
So what did you do there? What did you do?
I work for a company called Easy Systems. They make a content management system called Easy Publish. Back then, all homegrown, written themselves kind of stuff, but I've recently moved things to Symfony and gotten a bit more modern in their code base than it was when I was there, really.
Yeah,
so,
back in the day when I first got into PHP, and first got into the community, like I was into PHP in 2002, 2003.
Right.
And in 2007, I met you for the first time at International PHP Conference.
All right, yeah.
In, I'd say Frankfurt, but officially it's Murvelden.
Murvelden. Was it still there?
Yeah, it was still there. And that's when Easy Systems, what's the name of the content management system? Easy Publish and Easy Components was one of the leading frameworks.
I would say so,
That was pre-Zen Framework days.
Zen Framework came, what was it, about half a year after we started working on Easy Components. I still think that some of the stuff in there is better than everything out there. I mean, the coding standards are not, well, it still works on PHP 5.3, so they don't use namespaces yet, but some of the stuff in there is still really good, and I actually started using again, because for once, I started writing a web app again, and I haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah, so, but you've been involved with PHP since forever, I guess.
Yeah, since about 99 or 2000 maybe.
Yeah, that's a long time. And
2000, I think.
Tell the people the story, because I've heard that story, how you got into PHP.
Well,
which famous person?
I think Andre gave me commit access.
Yeah. Talking about a more funny story, how you got into web development and making a website.
Oh yeah,
that's a funny story.
Yeah, that was about in '99. I was with a couple of mates in university. We liked watching Formula 1, so we watched a lot of that. And in the time, Schumacher was being a bit of
a prick.
Prick. Okay, you can say those words. I can repeat them. That's okay with me then. Yes. So as a joke, my mates and I we set up the anti-Schumacher club. And the fun thing is that we wanted members for that. What we ended up doing is scraping websites with PHP, finding email addresses and spamming everybody. Now, this was more of a success than we actually thought it would be, and ended up on national radio about it.
I was more of a Jacques Villeneuve guy
yeah.
in those days. He wasn't so successful after 1997.
No,
I got
that's
into
true.
Formula One in 1998, hoping that Villeneuve would do it again, but he never did anymore.
Since then, I still sort of follow Formula One, but not as much as I used to.
But I like the anti-Schumacher thing. I would have supported that, but I distinguish the driver from the man, and I hope
Oh, yeah.
and I hope he can recover from what
Yeah.
happened to him.
I think it's tough. He's
Yeah.
gotten a bit better, but I don't think he's quite there yet. No.
No. But to get back on topic, so you
Yeah,
started.
sorry.
I could talk about Formula One all day.
I can't anymore.
No.
I don't know.
I haven't been following it, but like I remember the '90s were a lot of fun. But then from university, you hit was Easy Systems one of your
No, so what happened is that we started doing websites for like shops and little companies around where we were living. And one of the things what we wanted to do is we wanted to center an image on the screen, which was easy enough because in PHP you can calculate and get image size. However, this specific company, they wanted a Flash movie centered in the middle of the screen.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, and Flash was new. So we ended up not having a way of centering that on the screen because we couldn't know the size of it. Because PHP couldn't do that.
Nope.
But it could after I spent some time on it and figured out how the file format worked and figured out that the first 10 bytes actually had the size in it. It was a fairly trivial thing to do, but that was my first accepted contribution to PHP.
Oh, so you were into PHP back in those days. So minor
Yeah.
contributions. And with Andrei Zmievsky.
Yeah, he gave me commit access after a while. I know because I was doing lots of bugs and I don't really quite remember all the history there, but yeah.
And those were the PHP. Which version were we at?
I started using it with 3, but this was in 4.02, 4.03 something, really quite early on.
But then I imagine it sped up quite a bit, your contributions, because at a given point in time, you have been a release manager for
There was
version?
some of 4.2 and 4.4, I think. 4.4 was actually, we didn't want to do it, and 4.4 came out after 5 actually, where 4.3 had an interesting issue with references. And if you would pass things by reference, but wouldn't accept them by reference, you'd get memory corruption. And this was a big problem for Easy Publish. So I spent some time trying to fix that. I spent a long time trying to fix that.
But contributing it back to
yes,
the project.
yeah, and Work was happy for me working on that, so that was work. But
Yeah, it was
that
double
nice.
success, right?
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
helped the company. You helped.
Yeah.
But then, so Xdebug is one of the things you've invented. When what era was that? Was that the Easy Publish, Easy Systems
about
era?
12 years now. 12 years this year, so that must have been 2004. Yeah, before I started on working at Easy actually.
How did you came up with the idea? What were the circumstances? What was happening in what you were doing that convinced you to actually build this? Because it wasn't out there. Otherwise, you would have used something else that was easier to use.
There was something out there. It's called PHP GBG from, which name is now being reused, but I'm sure we go back to that in a moment. PHP GBG is done by Newsphere. They had an editor out there, and they had a debugger in it, but it was closed source and kind of shitty. And, I never paid for it. No, I can't do that.
And then all of a sudden you decided like we need this kind of
what
thing.
I started out with actually I wrote a little bit of code to make sure that if you had infinite recursion, PHP wouldn't crash. And it was a very simple thing. It basically got track of every time you call a function, increase the number, and when it reaches 100, it just would abort the script. And instead of crashing after 500 iterations or something. And after that, it's nice that it does that, but kind of useful to know where it happened. So then I added the stack trace, which PHP didn't have back then at all.
There was no stack trace?
Oh no, PHP never. PHP still doesn't do it, only for exceptions. And there it is limited to 1024 characters, so you don't even see everything, or arguments or anything like that. So.
And that's something that Xdebug tackles, because I
Yeah.
remember you
Yes, it
can
does
get quite extensive information
Yeah.
from that.
Get a lot of stuff out of it. And then over the last 12 years, been growing and adding more stuff to it, and it's still adding stuff to it. I don't have as much time now as I had. Norway was kind of boring, but
What would be one of the more interesting features that you added somewhat recently? And recently is a relative term, I know.
let's see, that was kind of cool. There's lots of minor things, so it's difficult to say really. But maybe it's more interesting to tell what I'm working on.
Yeah, sure.
After I've finished the PHP 7 support, which is a bit of a pain. Which is Xdebug has like a step debugger in it, right? So you can step forwards and backwards and inspect variables.
With breakpoints.
Breakpoints. But you can't step back.
Support. Oh, you cannot.
You cannot step back. Because it's a difficult thing to do, right? I mean, if you write to a file, how do you unwrite to a file?
You delete.
Yeah, but you don't know exactly how that is, right?
No, because
you don't know the original content.
No.
And the same thing, with maybe more with a database. If you do an update, how do you do an unupdate? You can't.
You have to make sure that if you do that update, you know what the inverse update is in advance.
I cannot expect every application to be written like that, right?
No, that's impossible.
And that is that's one of the reasons. But the other reason is in PHP itself, you cannot do this without it being becoming a major issue in some case. Like if you have a for loop, you cannot unloop that easily without. Well, PHP doesn't have the operations for doing things in reverse, so you can't. So the idea is now is to write a big file to this that has all the state changes in it, which would allow you to seek back and front to it. But it won't execute it live. It just remembers the states of everything in between happens.
That's interesting. And when is that supposed to hit
yes.
the mainstream?
Yes.
When?
Yes.
When it's done, right?
Yeah, when it's
done. This year?
That's hopefully,
Yeah. But you're super busy, you say? What are you working on these days?
I work for MongoDB on their PHP driver and HHM driver, so that's work things.
Yeah, I've seen the presentation. You've done a presentation on, like, what was the title? One
extension, 3 engines.
Yeah.
So that's later today. And yeah, we'll be talking about a new architecture that we've done for the drivers and the things around it.
Can you give our viewers a bit of a sort of compressed overview of...
Yes. So instead of having one big extension which just tries to do everything and not everything particularly well, we got rid of it, wrote a new library, a new extension, a very basic extension that only implements the very minimal things, and then leave it to a PHP library that you can install with Composer to do the more interesting, heavy lifting, nice syntax, API kind of things. And because it's such a small extension written in C, the development is a bit faster, and we get to write this little small extension for other things like HHVM as well, without having to do the duplication of the PHP library on top, because that can be shared. So that's the plan.
Yeah, interesting enough. Now, what's it like working for Mongo? Because do you work in the office in London, or do you work from home?
We have an office. I don't go in there very much. It's mostly sales and consultants, and it's just too noisy for me.
So
I
you
work from home,
usually work from home. Is it with Jeremy that you work on these things?
Yeah, Jeremy works in New York.
Yep.
Not from home. He goes into the office.
And Jeremy's here at the conference.
Here as well,
He's our prolific Jeopardy game show host.
Yeah.
So we're hosting a game show, and he really plays the part. He really acts the part.
He brought his suit as well.
Yeah, he brought his. I asked him to do. And, and I rented some professional like quiz equipment with the buzzer. So,
really?
So that's coming in later today.
Cool.
So you'll see plenty more of that. Yeah. Any more things you'd like to plug?
It's difficult to say. It's a bit premature to talk about it, so I'm not sure.
Give me the scoop. Give me the.
I don't have an SSL certificate yet. I like beer, but I also quite like whiskey, and I've now been working on a site or a normal website, a mobile website that allows you to take notes of whiskeys you taste and share it with your friends. It's very similar to Untapped, if you know what it is.
I've heard of it. I don't drink myself, but I've seen tech friends use the application. I have other personal friends who use it for wine as well.
Yeah, there's a different app for
wine,
But it was nothing for whiskeys or maybe later other types of spirits as well.
So
that's what I've been working on.
You'll fill that void, and will it be an app, an actual?
I don't know. Maybe somebody else will have to write that because I don't know how to do that.
So
it's a mobile website and a website at the moment.
Yeah. Responsive, right?
Sort of.
Yeah. So it's mobile friendly.
It's mobile friendly.
Okay. Cool. We'll leave it at that. Derick, thank you for being part of this for so many years. Yeah. Thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you for hanging out with me whenever I'm in London. He's a great host. we travel together when we can, and appreciate you being here. Thank you, Derick.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks. More coming up. Bye-bye.
Bye.